11-week Senate career so far, I wanted to thank Congressman Posey, not just for his kind words about me, but for the hard work that he has been doing for quite some time on behalf of this community in this state. Both in the Florida legislature and now in Congress, he has been a consistent voice on behalf of constitutionally limited government and the free enterprise system. And we sometimes take that for granted. We need more people like Bill Posey in Washington, D.C. My whole worldview, how I view America and how I view the world, really comes as a result of my upbringing. Now, I am blessed and fortunate to be an American by birth, born a citizen of the greatest nation in all of human history. My parents weren't born here. They were born in a place a bit different than the way I grew up. But they always knew about this place called America. I remember talking to my parents. My mom told me when she was a little girl, growing up in pretty tough circumstances in rural Cuba, her and her friends pictured America as this magical place where all the streets were lined with flowers. My dad, who was a little boy growing up in Havana in difficult circumstances, he pictured America as this magical place where every neighborhood had a lighted baseball field. This one does. They got a little bit older, they got a little bit more pragmatic. By the time they were young adults, to them America was this extraordinary country that had defeated what seemed to be unbeatable opponents in Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, and then rebuilt them. And they remember at a young age asking themselves, what kind of people? What kind of people defeat an enemy as vile and cruel and evil as Nazi Germany and then rebuild these countries and ask nothing in return? When they got older, they actually found themselves living here in the United States. Living here, and they encountered things they'd never seen in their lives. America wasn't perfect. It snowed too much in New York. They didn't understand why people of color had to ride on the back of a bus or couldn't use the same water fountains. And my mom cried the night that John Kennedy died. But they also met people here that blew their mind. For the first time in their lives, they met business owners and employers and entrepreneurs who didn't inherit their wealth. It was the first time in their life they'd ever met a business owner who didn't come from a connected or wealthy family, but rather people that came from simple means, that through hard work and sacrifice had accomplished extraordinary things. And it was at that moment that they realized that, in fact, their children would be the first generation ever in the history of our family that would have an opportunity to accomplish whatever dreams they had. In fact, that became the mission of my parents' life. America is truly an exceptional place. For 240 some odd years, it has been a beacon of hope to all the world. That wasn't an accident. That didn't happen by chance. It happened because the people who were here before us, in every generation, have confronted the challenges to the things that make us special. And they committed to doing whatever they had to do to keep it that way for their children and their grandchildren. And now, like every single generation before us, we are facing the same challenges. And we're running out of time. The good news is there's nothing wrong with the American people. The American people today are as great as they have ever been. What we're missing, and the only thing standing between us and another century of American exceptionalism, are leaders with vision and a government that works. Our economy's not growing, jobs aren't being created. That's not because Americans forgot how to create jobs or open up businesses. It's because we have a government that through its policies is getting in their way. We have a tax code that's complicated and burdensome, difficult to understand. We will soon have the highest corporate tax rate in the world. We tax investment in capital and job creation. Our regulations are out of control. We have governmental agencies at the federal level that terrorize job creators on a weekly basis through a slew of new regulations. Even the simplest business venture in America requires you to take out multiple permits and licenses, subject yourself to multiple inspections, and pay multiple fees and fines. On another level, we have a government that continues to spend more money than it takes in. Our federal government borrows $4 billion a day just to keep the lights on. Our national debt stands at $14.5 trillion and growing. And here's what's worse. There isn't a plan to stop doing that anytime soon. If you take the president's proposed budget and we passed it, it would raise taxes, and within 10 years it would make our national debt over 80% of our economy. These two things threaten our future. These two things must be confronted and solved. And sadly, I am here to report to you that over the last 11 weeks, I've learned that in Washington, D.C., there are too many people that are willing to win the next election, even if it means losing the future of our country. And the time has come for leaders in both parties to ask themselves, aren't there things more important in the world than our individual political futures? Isn't our country more important than our next campaign? Yeah. Although some people reminded me today the next campaign is about our country. The bottom line is these issues have to be solved and confronted. And they'll tell you it's really hard to do. No, it isn't. We know it needs to be done. Our tax code needs to be flattened and simplified. Our corporate tax rate needs to be competitive with the rest of the world. We need to lower the tax on capital gains. Well, I wish we could. I wish there was support. We need to take on these regulations. There's a bill before the Senate right now that basically says that any regulation that would cost our economy significant amounts of money can't be passed through rulemaking. You have to come to the Congress for approval. Yeah. We have to repeal Obamacare. Yeah. We have to defeat any efforts by the Environmental Protection Agency to impose cap and trade. On the debt side, we need a balanced budget amendment. We need spending caps that says government cannot spend more money than it's taking in. And once and for all, we need to deal with the reforms that we must pass to save Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid before those programs bankrupt themselves and then bankrupt our country. Those solutions, they're out there. That's not what's missing. What's missing is the political will to do anything about it. So in a few days or weeks, I think Congressman Posey alluded to this, this administration and some leaders in Congress will come to us and say, we need to raise the debt limit or we're going to default on our debt. Now stop for a moment and understand what that means when they say that. We're going to default on our debt if we don't raise the debt limit. What they're basically admitting is they need to borrow more money just to pay the interest on the debt. And they talk about how catastrophic it will be if we don't raise the debt limit. Let me tell you what will be catastrophic. What will be catastrophic is if we continue to spend money we do not have. What will be catastrophic is if we don't bring this debt back under control. And what we should be doing in the next couple of weeks is not simply talking about raising debt limits. We should be talking about what we need to do to re-embrace the free enterprise system, get our economy growing again, and once again give people a government that does not spend money it does not have. That's what we should be talking about. So, that's why 2 weeks ago, they came to the Senate and tried to pass another one of these 2-week extensions to the budget. And I said, I'm not voting for those things anymore. They said, well, that was the mature and adult thing to do. I said, there's nothing mature and adult about running a multi-trillion-dollar operation in 2-week increments. There's nothing mature and adult about refusing to make the difficult decisions required to put our budget into balance and ensure that we don't have a government that continues to spend money it does not have. There's nothing mature and adult about mortgaging our children's future. In fact, I remember a time when we talked about the debt, we talked about what we were leaving our children. Guess what? It's gotten so bad, it's going to impact us here now. And so I think this debate that's coming up is the perfect opportunity, not just to kick the can down the road for another year. It is the perfect opportunity to once and for all deal with these issues. And that's what I intend to be a part of. But what I want you to know today is that you have made a difference. I don't know what it was like up there a couple of years ago, before the Tea Party movement got going, before many of you got engaged or involved, but it has made a difference. I am here to tell you that when they have meetings in Washington, D.C., they care about how you're going to react to their proposals. It is a real check on what's happening. I know you remember a couple of years ago when these started that they said this stuff will burn out. In a couple of years, they'll get busy and go do something else. You're still here, and we're still working.
And don't forget, drill for gas.
Let me just close by saying something to you that you already know. That this country's worth saving as a special and unique place. I'm not sure this country always wins popularity contests around the world. That's not the point. Exactly. That's not the point. But I will tell you this. They admire us. We are the best example in all the world of what can happen when you give people the opportunity to fulfill their dreams and their hopes because of their qualities, their talent, and their willingness to work hard, not because of where they came from or who their parents were. We are the best example in the world of what happens when you limit government's involvement in people's lives and allow them to go out and chart a course for themselves. We are the best example in the world of what it means when you try to give people equality of opportunity, not necessarily equality of results. We are the best example in the world of how the free enterprise system has eradicated more poverty than all the government programs in the world combined. We still offer hope to all the world. We are still the single greatest example of what a people committed to a common purpose can accomplish. And that's worth fighting for. The 20th century, without a doubt, was an American century. This new century can be that as well. Because our power and our allure and the things that make us great has never been the power of our armed services and our armed forces, although the world is a safer place when we're the strongest country in the world. It's never been America's conquest of people or of land. The greatness of our country is our ideals and our principles. The very simple notion and the reality that every single human being is endowed by their Creator, not by their king, not by their government, not by their laws, or even by their constitution, but endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. That those rights don't come from our government. And in fact, the job of the government is to protect those rights. That the only power our government should have is the power that the people allow the government to have. These are the things that have made us great. These are the principles that distinguish us from the rest of the world. And if we embrace them, we will continue to be great. And this new century will be what the last one was. A century of American exceptionalism. And that is what we are fighting for. And that is what this is about. That's why I ran for the U.S. Senate, and that's what I pray to God every night that He will keep me true to as long as you allow me to serve you there. So thank you for having me back.